What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Anfernee McLemore, and in this video I want to talk about how to accurately research your industry as a small business owner to make sure that you're as effective as you possibly can be if you're just getting started in business or if you want to propel your business to the next step. So some of the main topics I want to cover in this video are how to actually get to know your industry, how to immerse yourself in it so you know what people want and what the demand is so that you can accurately take advantage of it by offering a great product. I want to talk a little bit about Google Trends as well, how to know if your industry is growing or dying, and what you can do to put yourself at the front spot of any industry. So if you think you're going to find any kind of value in this video, then hit that like button for your boy, as well as subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And as we begin, we have to start off by beginning to know our industry and having a clear definition of what that means for our business. Because once we have a clear definition of what our business is, we will be able to see if that industry is growing. We will be able to use some of the factors I'm going to talk about later in this video to accurately describe what our business is so that we can make a product that is perfectly aligned with that demand and that interest. And there are a ton of ways that you can go about getting to know your industry. A couple that I talked about here on the channel already, but some of the easiest ways are going to be the ones I talk about later in this video. But now let's talk a little bit about Google Trends and how you can use Google Trends in order to know if your industry is growing or what the overall demand is for your particular business. And to use Google Trends, it is as simple as typing Google Trends in and then getting pulled up to this website right here. Now, when you're using Google Trends, you do have to keep in mind that this is a very broad overall sort of search demand for whatever you're looking for. So just because something may be in demand right now doesn't mean that it has always been in demand, or doesn't mean you should start a business out of it. So let's take an example business to use for Google Trends. So let's say you want to make a refurbished furniture business. We would then type that into the Explore page, and from this page we can see that the interest for refurbished furniture has been fairly stable over time. It does have some peaks and some valleys, but overall it stayed around that 60 to 75 mark. And what's great about this is we can also see what state that refurbished furniture has the most demand in. So we can see in California, Texas, Georgia, and Florida. If you're in one of those states and you want to start a refurbished furniture business, this will give you a good idea of where the highest demand is at. However, if we went back and looked at the last 5 years, we can also see what the interest was over that time period as well. So what Google Trends does is that it allows you to see how much search volume it is for a particular item or a particular topic in most regions of the country. And it may be a good idea to use it as a foundation to sort of reassure yourself or to inform your investors that there is demand for your topic or your service and that you will be able to sell it in particular regions in the country. But after utilizing the Google Trends tool, one of the next factors that you want to take into account is going to be industry growth and how fast paced your industry actually is. So if you're starting a business in a YouTube space, you want to know how many content creators are already in that space. How big of an audience does that actual space have? And then make an observation of whether that audience is growing in the future or whether it is on a gradual or sharp decline, so that you know when or if it is the right time to enter into that industry. And it may be a little bit easier if you have a social media type business because you can see the numbers, you can see the views, you can see the subscribers that other content creators have. However, if you have a small business selling items on Facebook, you may not be able to see how much money that other people are making. But one of the things you can do is see how often they are refreshing their listings, how quickly things are selling, and how often they're putting more inventory back up for sale. Typically, you would expect a profitable company to expand and get larger and larger as they make more money. And you would expect a company that's seeing less in revenue to start getting smaller and to start selling less items. So you can make this observation in your own particular industry to see what the direction is for your industry growth. However, the next step to understanding your industry and to really tap in on the activity that's going on in your industry, you want to take note of the major competitors in that industry and who has the most search volume and who has the most customers and revenue in your industry. By taking note of the major competitors, you will be able to see and examine how exactly they make business. Is it because of their great customer service team? Is it because of their superior product? Or is it just because they have lower prices? Or maybe they just appeal more to your target audience? By closely examining your major competitors in your industry, you will likely find ideas that you can implement yourself to make your business even more efficient. And if you combine enough of the favorable characteristics of many different major competitors, in itself, it will give you your own unique identity because you will be taking the best of everyone and combining it into one while also putting your personal spin on it. So take whatever you want to start your small business in that industry and find out who's doing the most business so that you're able to learn from them. Especially as a new business owner, it is going to be extremely difficult to try to do everything at once. Trying to set up your business, trying to market, trying to do all of these things at once when you should just be focusing on making the best product available and using other resources in order to help you get your product off the ground. And after taking into account the major competitors in the industry, what you then want to take into account are any newcomers that are in the industry industry as well, and how many newcomers are ending up being successful in that same industry. By observing the newcomers and their success as newcomers, this will be a great way to evaluate your potential success in any industry at all. As I go back to YouTube a ton, if you see a surplus of small channels being able to grow very quickly in 1, 2, or 5 years, then you could make the assumption that there is demand for the type of content that they're producing, and that you may be able to experience a similar level of success if you produce a quality product. And if an industry does not have any newcomers, or if the newcomers are quickly being put out because they don't have a lot of sales, then you can either take the bet on yourself to say that you will be that one newcomer who will beat the odds and be successful in a very tough industry, or you can reevaluate your business plan and see if there's another industry that you may be more successful with. And just because there's not a lot of newcomers in your industry doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad industry. It may just mean that it takes a lot of money to get started, or it's just a very unique idea that many people haven't thought to make a business out of yet. So depending on your level of creativity and your level of persistence, you should be able to get your foot in the door of any industry with any business, depending on your overall level of planning. And one of the last things that you want to take note of when you're researching the industry are all of the industry threats that may make your entire industry obsolete within the next 3 to 5 years. So with all of the advancements in technology, you want to make sure that if you're starting out and you're not established, that you're going to be in an industry for the long haul. And if there's anything on the horizon that may eventually cause your industry to be obsolete, you want to make sure you take note of that so that you don't invest so much money in the very beginning just for it all to go to waste when no one's using your product or service anymore. And because technology is advancing so fast, this may be a little bit hard to come to a conclusion of. However, if it is just blatantly obvious that something is not going to be needed anymore, I wouldn't recommend starting a business in that atmosphere unless you're going to be marketing it as a sort of antique shop where people can take a blast to the past. So keep in mind industry threats that may cause your business to lose revenue or not make any revenue to begin with. But with all that being said, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you found any kind of value in this video, then tap that like button for your boy, as it really does help the channel out. Also subscribe if you like content like this, and if you want a little bit of a treat, then go down to the description where if you sign up to the public app, they will give you a free stock just for signing up and creating an account, and you don't have to deposit any money to do that. But like I said, I hope you did find value in this video, and I'll see you in the next time, guys.